Who is the most powerful person in this earth today?
Donald Trump.
Mr. Donald Trump, the President of United States of America. Wherever he goes, he is famously accompanied by a small black box, which is supposed to contain equipment necessary to launch a nuclear attack at any target, anywhere, at any moment of time. With the press of a single button, he has the capacity to annihilate mankind. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guests, we the doctors do not possess any such devastating power. For us, knowledge is power. However, in recent times, we have come to employ a less glamorous, yet in many ways an equally mighty weapon, by which I mean doctors' strike. Medical professional going into strike at one point of time was unheard, unthinkable phenomenon. However, today we see it making newspaper headlines from time to time. And it is nothing short of a medical equivalent of a nuclear button. In this context, let me share a story with you. In the year 2002, I was doing my MD in pediatrics from Guwahati Medical College. On that fateful night, I was posted in the emergency department with my 4 other colleagues. At 1 a.m., a young man was brought to the emergency department following a road traffic accident. My colleague, after examining him, declared him brought dead. The attendants accompanying the person were all drunk. They refused to accept the death declaration, citing that the body was still warm and it has life in it. Suddenly they became violent and started hitting and beating the doctor. We tried to intervene, but we were pushed and shoved out of the room. After half an hour of vandalism, they left the department, leaving behind my friend unconscious in a pool of blood. The police arrived into the scene 1 hour later. Junior Doctors Association next day demanded immediate arrest of the culprits and setting up of a police booth within the medical college within 72 hours. 72 hours passed. There was no response either from the police or from the government. Subsequently, measured escalation of protest started with wearing of black badges, taking placards in front of the principal's office, and then curtailment of non-critical services. 15 days later, not receiving any communication from the government or the police, a general shutdown was decided. Immediately, the media went hyper and they started reporting unabashedly about the large number of patients being killed by doctors on strike. It is needless to say that the reports were exaggerated, but the collateral damage done in form of sufferings inflicted to the poor patients and to our public image was pretty high. Now, I want to ask you a question. What would you have done had you been in my friend's place on that day? Were our demands illogical, irrational? Who is to blame for this? The police, who could not arrest the goons even after 15 days, even after knowing the name and address of the deceased? Or the government, who remained silent, knowing well the doctor cannot dare to go to strike because media will pounce like hounds on them? Or the media, who makes a mountain out of a molehill? Or the doctors, who does not have a moral right to fight for their legitimate right? While the strikes by any other professionals is considered as an absolute constitutional right, strikes by medical fraternity is usually has a taboo status. Moreover, doctors are tied by the Hippocratic oath, by which doctors take a commitment, sworn commitment, to unconditionally dedicate themselves in the service of the sick. On the other hand, due to the huge social disparity, our poor patients have to bear the brunt of any disruption in the medical services. Toastmaster Nisha, can you guess how many persons attend an OPD and emergency department in a medical college like All India Institute of Medical Science on a single day? More than 15,000 patients. And all these 15,000 patients has to be catered by just handful of 500 to 600 on-duty doctors. Look at the stress on the either side. Unfortunately, 10% of people who govern us, who make laws, who can afford to get themselves treated in any private hospital, cannot fit into the shoes of those doctors or to those of poor sick patients. Hence, from next time, whenever there is a medical strike evident, don't sit idle because it does not affect you. Don't get opinionated. Don't treat doctors like any other skilled professionals. Voice your impartial concerns and force the authorities to come out with an amicable solution as quickly as possible. As a doctor, I do believe that any general shutdown in medical services should be treated as an ultimate weapon, the nuclear button, which should be reserved, kept in reserve and never to be used. A weapon to deter and not to strike with. Mr. Toastmaster.